Ohayou gozaimasu. We are from T.A.S.F. As a Vietnam representative, we'll talk about how can Southeast Asian countries work with Japan to address the challenges faced by Southeast Asian migrant workers in Japan. So what are we going to talk about? We have the overview. We're going to talk about Japan's status quo, Vietnam's status quo, both countries' urgencies, the current worker policies applied in both countries, and then our new policies as well as the preemptive response responding to the new policies. Okay, so these are our members. We have Kento, Tan, and me, Venus. Moving on to Japan's status quo. TITP and SSW programs aim to train workers, but the reality is they have a long working hours, a low and delayed salaries, and a limited bargaining power because of language barriers, as well as poor living conditions. Moving on to our second point, where is demographic problems, where Japan has a non-productive age workers. That's why Japan's are seeking for youth workers from partner countries as a labor shortage. The third point, criminalities, is like overstayers, runaways from abusive employers, and as well as illegal workers. And our last point for labor violation, migrant workers are facing unpaid salaries, job mismatches, unsafe working environments, as well as withheld passport. Moving on to Vietnam's status quo, we have 3 points. First point is a low paid and job limitations, where workers only get a very low salaries despite having a long working hours. And second one, heavy debts. Workers are struggling with paying the large recruitment in Vietnam. Large recruitment fees in Vietnam. And the third point is cultural isolation and lack of mental health support, where Vietnam workers having a strict work environment that may cause a loneliness, depression, and as well as anxiety. Moving on to the urgencies from both sides. For Japan, they lack of young workers and seeking for young workers from different countries. And they're facing a rising worker recruitment criticism for the past years. For the Vietnam urgencies, they want to protect the migrant workers that stays in Japan. They want to have economic dependence and remittance. They also wants to apply a safe migration system for a future partnership with Japan.
While Vietnam has become a crucial partner for Japan's labor shortage, with the newest visa called SSW, also known as specified skills workers, people with their high value about their diligence skills, who are helping a lot of the Japanese industries, are facing a lot of problems about their language barriers, isolations, and discriminations. So that's why we want to build this new policy. For our new policies, it consists 4 core principles. First is dignity and respect, fairness, mutual benefits, and finally is support. To prevent these problems about isolations and discriminations, multi-stakeholders need to come up to a plan to help with the Vietnamese workers about these kind of problems. So for the Japanese government and the locals, multilingual hotlines and support desks should be the place where the workers will report about being abused, facing discriminations, or landlord refusal. Recently, there are a lot of cases that Vietnamese workers got abused and even wage thief, but they did not report because due to their fear of losing the job or even language barrier. So this place is needed because this will create like an environment where the workers feel safe and comfortable to report this problem to the authorities. And of course, promoting multicultural events held in schools, and will help them to know more about the cultural diversity and breaking their stereotypes. And for the Vietnamese government, also recent years, there are a lot of complaints about how ineffective and unproductive the Vietnamese embassies in Japan. This will lead to the workers feel isolated and they feel helpless about even their own country. People couldn't help them with the problems. So that's why we need to fix these problems as a gateway to help fixing the individual problems and ultimately even fixing the Vietnamese embassy work.
So we also came up with an idea of a new policy regarding bridging companies for ethical foreign worker employment. So we need these companies to help the foreign workers so they can actually work with ease and they can bridge the workers so that the people who wants to work in Japan, they can have more clarity to informations and access towards working abroad. So we want the companies to have 4 qualities. The first one is authorized license. So bridging companies should be able to obtain licenses from government, labor, and authorities, and also with regular adults to ensure that they don't exploit the labor standards and regulations. And the second, we need them to have fee transparency and limits. So bridging companies should also prohibit recruiting companies from charging excessive fees or even hidden fees from foreign workers. So establishing clear caps on permissible fees and, if any, for transparency and limits. We also need them to make fair contracts, which really impactful for the trustworthiness and also the relationship between the company and the workers themselves. So they should provide clear, fair, and language accessible employment contracts, avoiding exploitative terms like penalties or punishments when they want to resign or like deposits. Also, the last one, we need to provide worker support and also rights education. So they must facilitate orientation sessions for education about culture, society, and also like the traditional in Japan in this case. So as we all know, Japan is a very strict country regarding policies and also a very disciplined country. So they have to facilitate these sessions in order for the workers to know what is in Japan and also what law is in Japan and what are the policies, so they can settle easily and also they can adapt more easily towards Japan. Also, the company should also establish hotlines and channels for foreign workers to report abuses or even breaches without fear of retaliation. Okay, for the preemptive response, what if our policy didn't work that well? So unethical companies will be revoked or removed from the system with legal actions to ensure that even if some actors abuse the system, they will be held accountable. And the second is continuous feedback and review. Both sides need to hold transparency that if there is a problem within the system, they will revise and adjust the recruiting procedures immediately. So as we all know, trust and relationship and transparency is very important in this bridging companies and also the foreign workers. So they have to establish that communication and transparency so that we can know and we can evaluate the systems if it's going through correctly or like not. Also, these are the references of our policy, and that is from us. Thank you so much.